What is that thing? All right, so I did a vlog or whatever these are called, I don't know, 4 months ago. And I said maybe I'd make this a traditional, what is it called? What's the word? Why always get that word wrong? Not traditional. Regular? Ritual? Traditional? What is the right word there? Regular. Regular is the right word. Recurring. That could be a word.
Well, first and foremost, you should probably tell where we are and what we're doing. First off, we're in Flagstaff, Arizona, about 3.5 hours north of home in Oro Valley. And the predominant reason I would say for coming here is because it's really hot. It's getting really hot back home. And last summer I made the mistake of trying to train through it, and I don't think that panned out too well. I think I left, fitness on the table because it was just so hot, and I was greatly heat adapted, but very weak with regards to, power output and stuff, just because it suffers so much. So we definitely have been thinking for a while now of what do we do in the summertime, and so this is like the most logical place to investigate, Flagstaff. But then there's the added benefit that it's also at altitude. It's about 7,000 feet. And certainly Team Norway believes in altitude training. I believe Christian and Gustav, for the most part, lived at altitude leading into St. George. And I have never been to altitude. I haven't even really been curious about it because I think I felt that I had so much to work on and improve on. But now, I think I'm at a point in my career as well, just because of the competition and what they're doing. Jan was also training at altitude in preparation for St. George. A lot of guys trained at altitude actually in preparation. So there might be something there, I don't know. But I think now is the time to investigate, kind of middle of the season. If it turns out that it's something of benefit, then I can go to altitude before Kona for a major race, but I wouldn't want to do that without testing it first. So that's why we're here. First, to get out of the heat. Second, to do a test run of altitude training. So we're going to be here for 28 days, which is, I think, kind of like the minimum required to perhaps observe a training effect from being at altitude. Today is, the final day of the first 7 days, so we'll be a quarter of the way done. So far, initial thoughts, the first couple of days, I didn't really even notice it. And that just shows my ignorance, because then all of a sudden on day 4 or 5, I had like a horrible panic attack in the water from oxygen debt.
Well,
yeah, I mean, it's real. It's a little bit harder, I'd say. I actually think swimming at altitude would probably be really good for my swimming, because I'm a very hypoxic swimmer. I think I'm pretty inefficient, and so this forces me to be incredibly aware of my inefficiencies because I'm in such oxygen debt. So as horrible as it feels while doing it, that stimulus of feeling horrible and like actually fighting for air, I think could be a real stimulus to improve and to become more efficient. So I really like that. So far I see no downsides to this, to less oxygen in the air.
Today is day 7 of my first block, and the first 3 or 4 days I think I was pretty naive. I came in and I was like, oh, this is easy, like I don't even really notice any difference. And then all of a sudden on day 5 I was swimming and I went into like severe oxygen debt and had a bit of a panic attack. And the first time ever I've stopped mid-swim, mid-interval, stopped swimming because I was having such a panic attack that I was like, had to gasp for air and just needed to stop to get air. So that was started that day off oddly. And then for the rest of the day, I was like gasping for air, feeling claustrophobic. And so I went from days prior saying, oh, this is easy, I don't even notice a difference, to, oh my gosh, this is the hardest thing I've ever done and I can't breathe. Now I'm back to feeling pretty good. So I'm imagining that there's some sort of adaptation process going on. Admittedly, I walk around and like I'll find myself suddenly like, because I'm assuming that I'm like have a breathing pattern for a particular oxygen level, and then I go to that, and then there's not that much oxygen, and I get in a deficit, and then all of a sudden I got to make up for it. That's just my normal life. In training, undoubtedly, there is a bit of a decrease in output, but not as much as I would have thought, actually. I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, we're just learning. This is purely just for learning and analysis. So far on the run, you know, my LT2, my kind of, you know, middling effort at 2,800 feet where I was coming from was about 310 to 315 per kilometer. And now I'd say it's about 318 to 322 per kilometer. On the bike, my LT2 middling effort is at back home about 350 watts. And now it's 330 to 335 watts. And then swimming, on the other hand, in a very hypoxic, is already very, especially the way I swim, is very hypoxic in the first place. So then to reduce the oxygen, my swimming definitely has come down quite a bit more. It's fine for short efforts, but for longer efforts, I would say it's come down approximately 4 seconds per 100. So that's my initial observations. I'm sure as time goes on, I'm going to see and notice a lot more. One thing for sure I've noticed is you need to warm up more adequately, because aerobic system is so important here, being fully engaged so that you can extract maximum oxygen from the air. And, you know, I'm pretty used to just like warming up, especially in the water. I'll warm up for like 5 minutes and then I'll get into the main set back home, and that's just like totally impossible here. Now I need probably 20, 25 minutes warm up, maybe even 30 minutes across all 3 disciplines to be fully engaged. And that's an important piece, I think, if you want to extract maximum, you know, ability out of yourself for a workout. So, like, my heart rate's not even high. I'm pushing right now 220 average, 95 heart rate. But as you can hear, I mean, I do intervals at this breathing output back home at 280 to 290 and can talk like this. So aerobically, it takes a while to ramp the system up. So that is lesson 1 of altitude. Be gentle with yourself and allow yourself to fully warm up.
This is all just a little test set, little preparation for Mont Tremblant 70.3. So we're already, you know, foot speed over race pace. That's like 315 per kilometer. So the course record on there is only about a 110. So we're already hitting the paces we need to be hitting, and you know, we still have another 3 weeks of training to go. So I'm excited. This is, I think I might really like altitude. That's my current mindset. So everything is, you know, where it should be, I think, early on. Another thing I'm doing too is, because I've went so long and made so many errors with power meters and not training properly, because I've just switched between power meters. Now I'm dual recording always, and now I'm considering the kicker. This is the new kicker, the one that doesn't need to be calibrated. I'm considering that to be true, the real number, so that if I ever get a new power meter or anything, then I can always cross-reference it with that meter. And so the average is 254 on the true meter and 251 on my meter. So that's good. That's something for the future to make sure that I'm always training properly and the numbers have value. So far I see no downsides to this, to, you know, less oxygen in the air. There may even be a training effect, positive training effect. I don't know about that, but even if there wasn't a training effect, this actually seems like this is a pretty good place to be doing some training. So it was a good day, quality in all 3, and now we get a recovery day tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to it. Erin Appreciation Day. I can't wait. She's taking care of me, so